Well, first up, for our opening address on how COVID-19 is changing the government's view on the importance of tech as an enabler, particularly AI in innovation. We have with us our first speaker, who is Dzuleira Bakar, CEO, Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center, Malaysia, Government of Malaysia. Well, Dzuleira Bakar is currently the CEO of the Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center, Government of Malaysia. Well, Magic empowers the spirit of entrepreneurship, creativity, and innovation in Malaysia. Dzuleira works towards early evaluation of technology companies, setting up organization processes and policy formulation, corporate finance, investment, and project management, strategy, stakeholder and shareholder management, legal advice, and sustainability. So, we have with us none other than Dzuleira Bakar, who is joining us right now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Bhavana. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'll just start on. Hi, and welcome to the World AI Show. It's definitely a great pleasure to be here virtually today. I think it's Malaysia's largest gathering of CIOs, CTOs, and tech experts, right? And it's definitely a pleasure and it's an honor to be speaking as the first speaker for today. I honestly wish that I could see all of you in person today. I've just looked at the list of attendees. I think we've got about 70 odd attendees. Now, thank you for your interest and thank you for logging on today. So our topic today, I mean, we're talking about AI, we're talking about, we're talking about data, we're talking about machine learning. These are important, these are very important themes in terms of where we are today as a country, as even where we are today as far as the technology trends are concerned. I think, we all talk about data. We all talk about capturing all sorts of data. We interact with data day in, day out. We subconsciously and consciously allow our data to be recorded by all the devices that are around us, our wearables, our phones, our computer devices. So it's really, data is a big part of our daily lives. It's almost inseparable. And the fact that data is the fundamental or underlying sort of currency of artificial intelligence, right? If we're talking about artificial intelligence today, what is artificial intelligence? I think we will uncover more as we hear from all the speakers through this session. I've noticed that we've got a list of subject matter experts that can allow you better understanding of what artificial intelligence and its use case actually is. But I think if I were to simplify this from just to open this in that sense, data is really the currency, the underlying currency of artificial intelligence. I think if I could just quote, I'm sure all of you know the mathematician Alan Turing. Sometime in 1950s, this question was asked: can machine actually think? This is not a new question. This is something that has been talked about for decades now. So there's a question around: can machines actually think? At that time, it probably would appear as a notion that is impossible, right? That was the starting point of allowing machines to be smarter than human beings, machines to be more efficient than human beings, and machine to take over a big part of what we do in our daily lives, in our business operations, in our supply chain management, basically our daily lives. And I think that fundamentally is artificial intelligence. Again, I think there's no singular definition of what artificial intelligence is. I think if you speak to 10 different people, 10 different people would understand it differently. That's really artificial intelligence. But I think what needs to be understood is that the underlying currency of artificial intelligence is data, right? It's really data. And the fact that the data is actually used to extend our human capabilities. It's basically to make us look better, to do things better, to extend ourselves. So I think that's how I would simplify what artificial intelligence is all about. And then you have all your underlying technologies that pieces everything together. You have the underlying technologies that helps you synthesize the data that you have. That's essentially how data becomes intelligent. And that is where artificial intelligence, the whole concept of artificial intelligence comes around. I'd like to share some sort of stats around this whole data as well as adoption of AI. Again, I'm sure you're very familiar with this statistic. Around this time last year, Microsoft and I think IDC put out a report that mass adoption of AI could double the rate of innovation in Malaysia by 2021. Right? The whole thing is about um, getting on board this data usage in a big way for everything. The report also stated that employee productivity in the country could increase by 60%, and companies that have already embarked in their AI journey are seeing tangible improvements by about 20 odd percent. So it's growing from 70% to 34%. Right. And this again it's going back to the use of data that you capture, the use of the data that you capture through your surveys. If you're operating a business that's client facing or customer facing, these are synthesizing data that you capture through all of your interactions with your consumers, right? So all of these data through the use of technology improves customer engagements, provides higher competitiveness, and obviously accelerates innovation and more efficiencies. Again, the term innovation it can be a very high level word which is not easily understood, but innovation, actually, if you peel its core, it's a very simple term which talks about continuous improvement, right? Innovation can be in the form where you use technology, where you use any form of technology to make your process better, to enable a business process. That's innovation. And innovation could also be in the form of process. But all of this innovation requires data. How do you innovate from point A to point B without having data? Which is why I keep going back to the point of artificial intelligence and its whole universe around data. Data is really the underlying currency of artificial intelligence. And so that said, we've got a lot of work to do in terms of mass adoption of AI. Again, the report just also found out that just over a quarter of Malaysian businesses have joined this exclusive circle of AI. Again, it goes back to what I've mentioned earlier. We have a lot of data that we play around with. We sometimes capture data that we don't even know how to use it. So which is why it's hard to get on the AI bandwagon, because you're not very sure how you're going to use this data meaningfully. The operative word here is using data meaningfully, data that can be actioned upon, right? And going back to where we are today is with the COVID pandemic situation. Okay, I think this current situation, the current pandemic, has led us to sort of uncover one of the most uncertain periods of our lifetimes, right? And I think everyone knows this right now. COVID-19 is probably the most efficient chief innovation officer. COVID-19 just allowed us to accelerate in terms of technology usage, technology adoption, artificial intelligence. It's nowhere in time in the past that we speak about automation, that we speak about, how do we use this data that we've collected? How do we actually operate through data that's synced up through your cloud, and all of this, Internet of Things. These are new terms, which are not actually very new, but we're beginning to see the actual use of it, right? As you want to minimize physical interactions, as you want to minimize contact, right? It all boils down to these core things, right? To limit the reach of this pandemic, to limit the spread of this pandemic. And AI plays a very, very important role in all of this. And when I say AI, it's the ability to use the data that's been collected that's playing an important role. Again, the pandemic in itself has exposed so many gaps in terms of competing businesses, and those that were slow to transform before are surely feeling the hit right now. and it needs to take one pandemic, or it needs to take a severe crisis of this nature for us to immediately realize that, look, how we've been operating in the past cannot work anymore. So here I need to say this, that it's necessary for me to give you a heads up to say that a lot of you would know more than I do about the intricacy of AI technology, including the forces that drive it. And certainly a lot of the speakers today will be able to give you a better perspective. And I think you should take this opportunity to learn from all these subject matter experts. I don't have a very long time slot. I mean, I'm trying to sort of just say whatever is needed. In that sense, I want to keep to the core essence of AI in that sense. And with that, I think it's very important that we are all here today, hearing to all the subject matters speakers after me. And with that, I think with the kickoff of this show today, I'd like all of us to sort of take a step back and look at the bigger picture, in terms of how AI would actually transform the way we operate. In light of that, I'd like to sort of offer a macro view of the innovation landscape in Malaysia and the opportunity that lies ahead of us. So anyway, as Bhavna just introduced earlier, I basically head up the Malaysian government agency, and we're now placed under the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. So STI is a big agenda for us. We're an agency that looks at catalyzing culture of technology, creativity, as well as innovation. Right? We are a capacity building institution. We look at equipping local technology providers, local startups, and innovators with the right, with the skill sets and with the tools that are necessary to grow. And with that, we embrace new technology trends. We want new technology trends to be embedded into all of our daily lives. I'd also like to take your attention to the Bloomberg's latest technology index. Being a innovation and creativity institution, we look at the innovation index very closely. Malaysia is actually ranked the 27th most innovative country out of an analysis of 200 world economies. It's pretty impressive, but I also do think that it also highlights a little bit of gap that we need to address to improve our position. Whilst we have one of the highest manufacturing output levels in the world, we're also lagging behind in terms of employee productivity, R&D, workforce, as well as higher education degree. And we're not alone in this. I do realize that there are many countries, especially the developing nations, that are just like us. Again, some of these findings aren't completely new, but I can tell you one thing, that the Malaysian government, we're making big bets to change the status quo. We're taking a keen look into innovators of tomorrow. We're looking at advanced technologies. We're looking at strengthening collaborations with industry players that are best positioned to make innovations ubiquitous in this country. As I've mentioned earlier, we carry the mandate of science, technology, and innovation. So we're laser focused in terms of driving innovation in the country, and we work with a lot of these talented startups, and many of whom are AI driven. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the way I understand it is that AI really is that blanket, that tool that enables technology companies to operate in a way that they can deliver their impact in a very meaningful way. Right? There's no decision that can be made without data points. And that's what AI helps you to do. It helps you think. And that's machine helping you think faster, better, right? Now, in terms of identifying these talents, we identify them, nurture, connect with larger players, through our flagship programs. We've got boot camps, accelerators, and hackathons. I mean, so that's what we do on a day-to-day. We run our global accelerator programs. And through that, we've also identified some gems. We've got illustrious artificial intelligence alumni who are building autonomous robots for wide range use case, including healthcare as well as manufacturing. All right. So again, artificial intelligence is the engine of this robot. Right? In itself, the artificial intelligence cannot carry out the job. It would need a conduit, which is why I keep going back to the point that artificial intelligence is built on data, and both of this tied together becomes an engine to anything that allows its extension. For example, a robot, right? On the other level is that Magic, we're also a lead agency. We play a key role in accelerating commercialization, through of key technologies. With that, we've just recently introduced the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, which we're very, very proud to announce, because this really stems the government's effort in terms of accelerating local technologies. Especially with a keen focus in advanced technology. We've also set aside a huge budget, and the whole objective is that advanced technology should play an important role in terms of the country's short-term economic recovery. And this is a very strong message, because what we're saying is that technology and economic recovery cannot be separated, right? We want to live in the future which is efficient, enabled, and just productive. And all of this requires technology and innovations. So the sandbox intends to bring all the right players together to remove all barriers that are necessary, to allow a bigger market for technology adoption. And I think at a country's level, we're actually looking at this to be a base to create more jobs, increasing the GDP of the country, and improving social inclusion. Technology can be a very, very important tool in connecting or stitching the social fabric in that sense. Dividing technology can be, if deployed well, can be a tool in terms of closing gaps of the society. We also work with all of our funding agencies within the country. The Science and Technology Ministry sees a big chunk of the innovation ecosystem, comprising of the capacity builders, comprising of funding institutions, as well as technology adopters and technology creators. So where we are today, with the help of all our, the government machinery, the aim is to accelerate the use case of artificial intelligence, to accelerate the artificial of advanced technologies. And I think, I hope everyone sees where we're going with this. And I think it's an opportunity for the country and for the region to leverage on. So Malaysia really is a very promising space for innovation, and the government has truly invested in a lot of these key ideas, as I just mentioned earlier. And we want to see more. And in that sense, from Magic, on behalf of Magic, I'd like to hear from you. We'd like to hear about all of these emerging technologies. And if you are in the business of, if you're a technology creator, come see us. If you're in this business of advanced technology and you've created great products, please come and see us. We'd like to see how we can help you and accelerate your product to market. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I have actually come to the end of my speech today. But with that, I think I just want to leave you with one key message. I think today's what we have lined up today is amazing, because it simply provides an overview of what AI and data can do for us, for our daily lives, for our business, for in a way how it would influence every decision that we could make in the future. It's a powerful tool for as long as we are able to use it meaningfully. And I wish all of you a great session today. I truly wish that you would take away some very very key important lessons from today. And and enjoy your day. Thank you very much, and please reach out to us. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Dzuleira, for joining us today. It was incredible having you today. Once again, a big thank you.